Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett. Oh no, I think I'm about to have another episode.
Deck your plans with lies and nonsense. Edward Morgan Lynch has got your back with a knife. 'Tis the season for embezzlement. Somehow every month is the season for them. Maybe the market will go up forever, but the chances are really slim. If you're still with the Joker broker, 'tis the season to fire him. Or her. It's the 2000s, you know. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed that holiday song, folks. I was trying to get this podcast out yesterday on Christmas, but you know how Christmas goes. It's not the easiest time to do anything. Certainly it's not the easiest time to remix, sing, record, and chipmunkatize Christmas songs with new lyrics. You will hear, by the way, some chipmunk versions of altered Christmas songs coming in this episode. So I think we have 3 songs. That was Deck Your Plans with Lies and Nonsense by me. And there it is. This is going to be episode 170, The Gift of No Fees. What can I give you on Christmas? That was the idea. It's actually the day after Christmas. And for some of you, maybe on the East Coast, who knows? Maybe it's the day after Christmas. But whatever. It's a gift, man. Just take it. We're not celebrating Christmas with my mom till tomorrow. We're okay. Actually, Saturday. So late gifts, better late than never, yeah? The gift of no fees. I will have to tell you, I mean, one of the things that this podcast has sort of become is my sharing 15 years of experience with you and having done thousands of client appointments, attended more trainings on how to be a financial advisor and grow people's money than most people on the planet have ever attended, just because I like education. So I kind of spent $40,000, $50,000 a year on trainings and conferences and things for the first many, many years. Then I joined the top group in the country, measured one way, measured by sort of volume, how much money the 800 advisors there help clients move into better positions throughout the year. So basically based on volume or business. I joined the top group, and they had trainings all the time. Then I didn't have to pay as much. It just kind of, they were provided for me, and I could just get myself there. So I've always gone to just as much training as I possibly can. One, I love the environment. Two, it's how I learn everything I'm teaching you. Like, you can't be in an industry that has such a strong current towards doing what's wrong for people and such a strong, high, amazing paycheck and wonderful lifestyle for doing what's wrong for people. So if you manage, $50 million of somebody's assets and keep them in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, you really don't even have to work. You can just be on the golf course and have your team servicing those accounts, and it's in a pretty slick situation where when the market's up, you say don't sell because you're making money. When the market's down, you say don't sell because you just lost money and you need to leave it there, or else you're not going to get it back. So there's this weird. The market has this weird set of handcuffs on the client, you. Plus, it's emotional, which people tend to like a lot more than things that are boring, even if they work better. And on the advisor side, oh my goodness, it pays 4 or 5 times as much money. And don't choke, everybody. I know some of the advisors hear this and are like, that's not true. Annuities have crazy high fees. Yeah, it's because you've been lied to, and your manager wants you to believe that, and you haven't done your research. You haven't done what's right for your clients. Go out. Study indexed annuities. They don't have any fees whatsoever. Study today's best indexed annuities with income riders, and income riders that provide income increases every single time the client makes money in their account. So basically we have an inflation hedge. Study them, and you'll find the top best annuities in the country don't have any fees at all. Any advisor that says annuities have a lot of fees is literally screaming into your face, I am not qualified to help you. I am dangerous. I am uneducated. I only study what pays well, or I'm brand new in the industry. It doesn't matter if it's ignorance or immorality. They will hurt you. Folks, there's 7 billion people on the planet. You're going to pick one to give you advice, or maybe more than one, but most people only pick one, or at least they pick a quarterback, some sort of lead person, right? I could be your quarterback. Call me. Get in touch. info@l5wealth.com or charlie@jewettwealth.com. They both go to the same inbox right on my phone. Just get in touch. Let's be friends. info@l the letter 5 the number wealth the word.com or charlie@jewettwealth.com. JEWETT wealth.com. I can be the quarterback and whip everybody on the team into shape and require them to do the best job possible or they get fired. You can't be my client's CPA unless you're doing better than the other ones I know. You cannot be my client's money manager unless you're beating the S&P 500. I'll do all the firing for you and hiring and butt kicking. I like it. Most people are not qualified to do it and don't enjoy it. You probably heard me talk on other podcasts about how emotional people get and how hard it is for them to fire their advisor or move their money. And they're like, oh, they're so nice and they've done all this work, and they just completely forget this is a professional servant. This is a person that you pay money to accomplish something, to get a result for you. And I promise you, get in touch. We'll do it together. I promise you. If you have your money managed, meaning you're in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and you have a pie chart that shows up monthly or quarterly on a piece of paper where it's a circle with a bunch of pizza wedges and they're different colors and there's percentages all over the place and it says large cap and small cap and blah this and blah that, promise you that if we measure that against the performance of the S&P 500 over the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and 30 years, if you even have that data, they're not going to give it to you because they know what we're going to find. You'll find that you are paying someone to hurt you. You're paying someone to underperform the market. So today, the gift I'm going to give you is that we're going to talk about fees. And I want to give you the gift of having no fees in your life at all if you choose to. I basically have 0 fees in my life as far as the way I grow my money. So do fees even matter? Well, there's this guy. His last name is Bogle, right? Let me look him up. Is his first name John? I don't know why I know this guy, but I don't know why I forgot his first name. I love to have the internet here while I record podcasts so I can be dynamic. Is his name John or Jack? Yeah, Vanguard Group. John, oh, it's both. No wonder. John or Jack Bogle started Vanguard. So done a fairly cool thing for the world. You know, if you're going to be in the market and you are addicted to it and you must do it, even though it underperforms, which means makes less money than annuities and life insurance over the last 18 years by almost half. The market, if you look at by the way, I'll do an episode on this, but Morgan Stanley just came out and told the truth. A friend of mine, Jeff, sent it to me. Let's see what it says here. I haven't done my podcast episode on it, but let's see. Morgan Stanley put out an article. Let me go to the link and tell you what it says here. Why Morgan Stanley says the 60-40 portfolio is doomed. They're probably talking about 60% stocks, 40% bonds, which is like what you should have done 20, 30 years ago, maybe. Definitely not today. And I'm not saying that as an opinion. I'm saying that based on the returns. Morgan Stanley says, as U.S. stocks set new record highs, Morgan Stanley warns that returns on a traditional balanced portfolio of 60% stocks and 40% bonds could approach 100-year lows and drop by half versus the last 20 years. The return outlook over the next decade is sobering. Investors face a lower and flatter frontier compared to prior decades. Well, where have we heard this before? This is so shocking. Oh my goodness, this giant group of people called the baby boomers were working and they were putting money away for retirement. They were saving up, like Charlie says, but putting it in a different place. But at least they were saving because they were working. They had these big incomes and they were putting all that money away. What do you got to do with all that money? You got to buy something. What do you buy? And they were buying mutual funds and buying stocks and stuff. You know what I mean? They were putting it in the market because your 401k, 457, and 403b make you do that. They're kind of evil. They don't let you do annuities. You got to buy their crap, so they bought a lot of crap. And what happened to the price of crap when a lot of people bought a lot of crap? Price of crap went up. All right. Those people are now retiring at like $10,000 a day. At least they're turning 62 at $10,000 a day. Maybe they retire, maybe they can't because their guy was ripping them off for so long, but that's beside the point. So they're not buying the crap anymore. They're kind of selling the crap. Why are they selling the crap? They're selling it to buy good stuff, non-crap, like annuities, or maybe they're just selling it because they're leaving their portfolio of crap together, but they're taking a piece out for income every year. So they used to put in $17,000 a year or whatever. Now they're taking out $40,000, $50,000 a year. So they're not buying crap. They're selling crap. And surprise, surprise, the price of crap went down. Ah, what? Is it really a mystery? Seriously. Seriously. Do we really need Morgan Stanley to use their name and say, the strangest thing has happened?
when a giant group of people were buying something in the United States, the price had gone up, but now it seems, dun 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 dun, now it seems, folks, against all odds, that when this giant group of people stops buying and starts selling, for some crazy, unforeseen reason, the price is going down and the future looks glim. Back to the article. This is on Investopedia, by the way. Thank you, Jeff, for sending this. I think the title is just Why Morgan Stanley Says the 60/40 Portfolio is Doomed, from Investopedia, by Mark Kolakowski. Kolakowski. Must be from one of the ski nationalities, the skis. Back to the article. Investors will need to accept much higher volatility. Well, that sounds awesome. To eke out small incremental units of return. Well, that's also pretty sexy. Small incremental units of return with high volatility. Goodness gracious, don't threaten me with a good time. The note added, Morgan Stanley forecasts, brace yourself, Morgan Stanley forecasts a 2.8% average annual return over the next 10 years for the 60/40 portfolio. No doubt they'll have another recommendation for what blend of only their products you should buy. Only risk. It won't be annuities. It won't be guarantees. It won't be fee-less products with a floor. It won't be tax-free growth inside of indexed universal life insurance. It's not going to be anything that's performed better than all of their portfolios. It's just going to be some other crap they put together. But give honor where honor's due. They told the truth. Good job, Morgan Stanley. I'm clapping in a room with a lot of echo. I don't know. Who records podcasts in a room with an echo? Well, I do have a lot of pillows surrounding me and a lot of comforters, so maybe it sounds good. I feel good. I'm comfortable, and that's pretty important when you record podcasts like I do, that you be comfortable and have good back support, or else you'll just never last. I don't know why I always go to that default voice. I grew up on the East Coast, so I talk like an old Jewish Italian man. Are there Jewish Italian men? I can't figure out if Judaism is a religion or a nationality. So can you be Jewish and from Italy? I think so. I think you can be a Jewish Italian man. And old. Certainly can be old. All right, back to the topic. What in the world's happening to me? You don't need fees. Fees are unnecessary. And to be candid, now even Morgan Stanley, even the people... Oh, by the way, I have a song coming up that's going to... You know what? Why don't I just play the song right now, and then I'll come back to it. Let's play my song that actually has the Morgan Stanley name in it. So... pause for a moment for a musical interlude. Be right back.
Edward Jonesy, add some more pie to my charts. That's art. You have all of my cash, Edward Jonesy. You don't have to tell me the truth. Morgan Stanley, here's my money. Gamble it, please, for me. It's all I have in the world, Morgie baby. I won't even put up a fight. Think of all the fees I've paid. Think of all the money that I haven't made. Next year, I will stick with you, 'cause I can't leave you, I'm too afraid. Merrill Lynchy, make us stand the market each year. That's weird. Been that way since we met, Merrill Lynchy. You get paid while I'm going broke.
So did you like that? Did you recognize that one? Santa baby, I want a yacht. And that's not a lot, or whatever that song is. I just figured I'd rewrite it and have some fun with it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Back to the action. Back from the commercial break, which wasn't a commercial. It's just music. Fees are certainly not necessary today. Maybe they were 30, 40 years ago. They're not necessary. And paying a fee, which I'm not against, depends on what you get for it. Inside of life insurance, I certainly get really excited about paying fees instead of taxes. I like to pay for life insurance to make sure that I never have to pay taxes on any of my gains or any of my income or any of my death benefit. That's awesome, and they're cheaper than taxes, so it's like the deal of a century, which is awesome. But Bogle, the guy that started Vanguard, back to this, says that, and if you look at the mutual fund article on my website, jewetwealth.com, and you look under resources or whatever, and you find the mutual fund article, or you just do your own basic search on hidden fees inside of mutual funds, you will find what Jack Bogle says is very true. It's very conservative, that you're probably paying 2%. I don't care what your professional tells you. There's like, nah, I got you at 0.5% because you got a lot of money or whatever. They say you're at 1% or 1.2. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about what the manager actually shows you. We're talking about turnover costs and all of that inside of the mutual funds, tax inefficiencies. Mutual funds are just a stupid choice for anybody who's got more than $20,000 or $50,000 anyway. Your broker should know that, but they don't. They have to sell that because they don't work for you. They work for Edward Morgan Lynch. They work for whoever writes their paycheck. That's the basics of this industry. By the way, when I tell you things like, how many interviews does it take to get a manager's job at a fast food restaurant, and it's more interviews than you ever put your advisor through, and they're managing your entire net worth. And then I say, I'll interview them for you. Get in touch with me. info@l5wealth.com or charlie@jewelwealth.com. I won't even charge you. It's fun for me. I like smacking these people around and testing them. It's my job to protect people in this industry and to listen. My job when I'm talking to a professional is to make them so uncomfortable with how much I know and how much I can see through them that the bad ones freak out and I fire them for you and protect you. But the good ones, and it's rare, but the good ones go, I don't want to be bad at my job. I don't want to hurt people. I can hear just in your questions. I don't even have to teach them anything. Just questions I ask. I can hear just in your questions, Charlie, that there's some things I need to know that I'm not being taught by the company I'm with. And the good ones, that's why I call myself an evangelist sometime, a financial evangelist. The good ones rise to the surface, the cream of the crop, right? Rises to the surface and asks to be helped. And that's literally why I had to start an entire recruiting division and start building a team, which honestly, we probably need 100,000 agents to change the world, but I'm starting with 40. There's 40 positions. I think, 13 are filled or whatever. But I'm starting with 40 people, and then they can be managers and help me train the next, whatever, 40 times 40 is that 1,600? Yeah, I'm in the math industry. Whatever it is, we probably need, there's companies I think have the most expensive life insurance on the planet, the most expensive mutual funds on the planet, and certainly the most expensive managed money on the planet. Terrible term insurance, just trash. And they've got, 115,000 insurance agents just at one of the name brand companies with trashy products where they have to sell their own crap. Guys, we need thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to turn this industry around. But some of the good guys and good ladies will raise their hands and say, I want help. So all that to say, if you're going to pick one person out of 7 billion on the planet, make sure it's somebody that's doing right by you. What Jack Bogle says is the costs are probably 2%. So, all right, if the costs are 2%, what does it cost to have a money manager? Well, somebody just did a study on millennials, and you might be older than a millennial. That's fine. By the way, the danger to millennials growing their money over 40 years is worse for you if you're not a millennial and you don't have the 40 years, but you're going to be taking an income out of the portfolio. I mean, these numbers where they say a millennial who starts with $25,000 puts away $10,000 a year for 40 years, a 1% fee costs them, $500,000. $500,000, or like 25% of their portfolio. That's like ridiculous. That what it costs you to have a professional is 25% of your nest egg that you should have ended up with, and all of the research, not shows, all of the research proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that professionals do not do as well. You will have less money than if you just went around them and bought the S&P index fund from Vanguard or Fidelity or whoever's got a TD. Just you don't need the money manager. I mean, some of my best friends in the world do life insurance annuities and they manage money. And I manage money, but it's not because I think you should. It's because you're addicted to it. Or the industry does stupid things and throws the baby out with the bathwater and says, even if someone wants it, they're not allowed to put all their money into annuities and life insurance. They have to leave out 15 or 20% of their net worth. Well, leave it where? What are your options? We can go to the bank and make no money, or we can stick it in the market and risk it. I'm like, how is that helping people? How is forcing them not to use products with guarantees helping them? Oh, because it's all about liquidity. Yeah, it's all about liquidity. Right. I should never get on an airplane because it's not liquid between California and New York. I can't tell them to stop if I change my mind and want to go to Idaho. All I don't give a crap if it's liquid. I just want to go to New York. Get on the plane, go to New York. Liquidity is stupid. You're going to hear a podcast coming up called Liquidity is Stupid. Another one called, Liquidity Sucks, Safety's Stupid, Rate of Return Doesn't Matter, and Taxes Are Awesome are 4 podcasts that are going to be coming up. Tune in. They're coming soon. Back to the content. Call me Rabbit Trail Jewett. Why not? That's just the way it works for me. So Jack Bogle says it costs you 2% of your fees over a 20, 30 year period. That's pretty darn expensive. This research project that came out, if you look it up, millennials, how much the fees cost millennials, will show over a 40-year period, cost them $500,000 or 25% of the money they would have ended up with. So you want a real easy way to figure that out? Your broker costs you 25% of your retirement. If you have 25% less assets at retirement, you get 25% less income. Easy. How do we know if they're worth it? You go do a research project on Google. Do money managers beat the market? And you'll find they're not worth it. It's like the easiest thing you could possibly do. And I understand you guys don't like firing your brokers. I'll do it. Ask me to do it. You don't do it by calling them up and saying, hey, I think I found something better. It's really awkward to let you go. You've done a great job. And they go, oh, what'd you find? I'm thinking of annuities. And oh, my, come on in. Let me show you something. Guess what just happened? The servant who works for you that you pay just snake oil sold you again and got you back onto their turf when you tried to fire them. That's not how you fire a broker. You want to know how to fire a broker or how to fire an advisor? You write a really nice letter or an email. You say, listen, I respect you. I thank you for your time with me. You're one of 7 billion people on the planet, and for this time, you've done your best, and I know that. And my family and I are grateful. We've found one of the other 7 billion people on the planet who's going to take over as the quarterback, the architect of our financial future. We've already had them review the entire plan, some of your recommendations, the company you work for, your licensing, your knowledge, and we're confident that this is the right move. We're not in the middle of our decision. We've made our final decision, so I want to say thank you. Please don't contact me. You're going to see that we're moving our money, and I ask that you make that happen quickly. Good luck. Best wishes to you. Please don't contact us. If you have further questions, please contact Charlie Jewett at and I give you my cell phone. That's how you fire someone. You don't get into a conversation and try to argue why it's better over here. There will win every time. How do you think these big brokerage companies get $1 trillion under management at just one of them with 12,000 offices while handing out, well, they don't hand it out, but while having a disclosure that says we're not going to do what's best for you, we're going to put you in mutual funds that charge high fees to give us kickbacks. They're not honest. You do not deal with this as a conversation. You quit them cold turkey with a very clear letter that's respectful and thankful, and do not contact me. And if you feel the need to talk about this, you talk to Charlie, the new guy. You do not contact me. Easy peasy, because if they call you, I don't know your personality, I would curse them out. I'd be like, are you kidding me? The bottom of my email and the top said don't contact me, and you called me, you piece of bleep? I would not take that well. You might be nicer than I am, but I'm me. Most people are never going to call. The only time a broker fights for the money is when they think they have a chance and they think that you're still under their spell. If they realize you're out of their spell, most of them never call me. I promise you that. They don't really have questions about what you're doing and concerns about you hurting yourself. They just don't want to lose their paycheck. All right, blah. Anyway, Jack Bogle says it costs about 2%. You can call it 1%, call it whatever you want to. It's costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's what fees do. Well, how do you have no fees? I'm going to prove this to you. I love analogies. You guys know this. I love analogies. Why? Because analogies take something you already understand in your brain. Or maybe they're metaphors. I never even know what I give you. If it's an analogy or a metaphor, because I did terribly in English, and I did well in math, and then I end up speaking for a living about math. Go figure. But I didn't do well in English, so I don't know if it's a metaphor or an analogy. My brother would know everything. My dad and my mother would know everything. Christmas with my mom is coming. I'll have to ask her. But whatever this thing is, I like these little stories and comparisons because it takes something you already understand in your brain and brings in the new concept that I'm trying to teach, and your brain goes, ah, it's like that, and lets it in the front door. Right? Dogs don't eat pills, they eat peanut butter. You got to do peanut butter education, peanut butter marketing. If there's something that somebody needs inside of them, you've got to wrap it in something they will let in. Sort of the good version of the Trojan horse that got all those warriors past the gates. You got to put some peanut butter around the pill, and then the dog goes, peanut butter, yummy, I like peanut butter, and swallows the pill, and then gets the pill and fixes the dog. Everybody's happy. Yay, Fido lived. It's awesome. By the way, I just posted a picture on my Instagram, which is charliespictures.com, and called it Pucha Libre of two dogs wrestling, because that made me laugh, and I don't know, if you're weird like me, you can laugh at Pucha Libre. Hey. But let me prove to you, because the investments don't have to have fees. Like, growing money doesn't have to come with fees by using something you already fully understand. Because, man, I'm 15 years into this, thousands and thousands of appointments, and people are like, how are there no fees? Like, inside their minds, they're just lost. Like, how could there not be any fees? All right. Do you have any fees when you buy a CD? You know, so you put $100,000 in the bank, a CD, and they say, we're going to give you 2.5%. On top of that, do they charge you a fee every year to, quote, manage it or what? No, they might be a surrender penalty, which is totally different, because you're earning money based on committing to a time frame where they can use your money instead of earning money based on risking your principal. And those are the two basic ways to grow your money in the United States. You can either risk your principal, you can buy gold, buy silver, buy stocks, buy houses, buy goats, buy cars, whatever. Hope they go up, but they might go down. So there's the risk your principal and try to buy things low and sell them high, or there's the commit to a time frame, right? Buy a CD, buy an annuity, lend somebody money for a 30-year mortgage, whatever, right? Just, it's like buy a bond for 5 years or 10 years. No, there's no fees inside of a CD. All right. And annuities don't have fees either. Fixed annuities don't. Most MYGAs, multi-year guarantee annuities, don't. Indexed annuities don't, unless you add an income rider that comes with a fee. And now they have income riders that don't have fees. So, well, why are there no fees? Well, because you're letting the insurance company use your money for 10 years or 12 years or whatever. And yeah, they have liquidity. You can get 10% out, blah, blah, blah. But there's penalties for 10 years, which is a good thing. Well, let me put it in something that you understand. If you borrow money to buy a house, we call that a mortgage. So you borrow $300,000 from a bank, and you are paying them interest. Who is the investor, and who is providing the investment and paying the interest? Well, the bank is giving you $300,000 of their money. Isn't that a lot like when you look at my investment choices or my financial products and say, well, how could there be no fee? You're the one with the money. We're deciding where to put it. Well, in this case, the bank has the money, and they're putting it with you, or they're putting it into the escrow company to whatever. The bank is investing $300,000. Now, who's paying them the interest? Who's providing this 30-year investment, this 30-year annuity, fixed annuity for a bank? It's you. You're the one paying 4% interest. Let me ask you a question. How much are you charging the bank in fees for this investment? Yeah. Crickets. Nothing. You're not charging the bank because they're letting you use their money. And the use of their money lets you live in this amazing home you can't afford. You didn't have the $300,000. Lets you live there. Lets you sometimes pay less taxes if your mortgage payments, if it's worth itemizing, if it's higher than the standard deduction with all your deductions. And also this thing, looking back over history, is actually an investment itself where you pay $300,000 and 30 years later it might be worth $600 or $900 or $1.2 million. You're like, wait a minute. You'll let me use your money? Think about this. Think about if you said this to the bank. Well, I'll use your money for 30 years and pay you a bunch of interest, but not without fees. Like, I'm going to charge you a bunch of fees for this privilege I'm getting of using your money. You do not charge banks when you provide the 30-year annuity for them, which is a mortgage. So why would they charge you fees if you're the one, quote, lending them money for a while? They wouldn't, and they don't. I'm hoping you had an epiphany or some sort of an aha moment, like light bulb popping over your head. Light bulbs across America. It sounds like a nice, remember Hands Across America? By the way, I don't know if you saw the movie, what was it called? Anyway, it's like weird zombie clone creatures did a version of Hands Across America, and I had no idea why, but it was creepy. they're not going to charge you fees because they are the ones that we are doing a favor for. We are letting them use our money for a time frame to do something that's valuable to them, just like when we ask a bank to lend us money to do something valuable, which is buy a home. We're not going to charge the bank fees, and the insurance companies are not going to charge you for annuities. When someone stupid like Ken Fisher comes out and writes an article that says, I hate annuities and you should too, first off, you have to say, what's the source? Okay, the source is a guy that manages money with a pitiful performance, does worse than the S&P 500 in every time frame we can measure. So I think his fee is 1.25% or whatever, plus all the fees inside the mutual funds. So your total probably like 2.5 or 3 if you really looked at all the mutual funds or looked at what Jack Bogle's talking about. What's the source of a guy saying I hate annuities? Okay, it's a guy that gets paid to have people not use annuities and puts money into the market. Okay, that's one data point. It's not the end all. It doesn't mean he can't tell the truth. All you have to do is read his article. By the way, I think you should read his article. I am so not scared of you reading Ken Fisher's stuff because it's so stupid. Read it. Download the I hate annuities and you should too. You will find it's just a book full of lies. I think he's just talking about variable annuities because he says all these things that are only true of variable annuities, and I don't use variable annuities either because the fees are like 2.5 to 4% to buy something you could have outside of it, the stock market, mutual funds, and then they limit how much you can buy. When outside of it, they don't. So, okay, I agree. I don't really like variable annuities in their current form, and you shouldn't like them either. Okay, but to leave that little word out, variable, it's to be like saying, I hate houses and you should too. When you're talking about townhomes with thin walls that have an HOA that doesn't let you do anything. And burglary is like a huge problem in the area. Okay, well, why don't you just say, I hate bad townhouses and you should too. Get yourself a nice custom home and a Why do you have to be criminal about it? Why do you have to lie to people? And Forbes magazine lets you talk to their audience without shame, without apologizing. That's why I don't have any respect for Ken Fisher or Forbes magazine, because I hate liars. If you go to that same Instagram page, charliespictures.com, you'll see a big stop sign. I hate liars. And I'm telling you, I hate liars. I think there's a special place in hell for liars. As an educator and a person who speaks for a living and loves words, if you use words to mislead people or hurt them or take from them to better your life, I hate you. I don't believe you should be here. I don't believe you should be allowed. I mean, I don't know if it's as bad as first lie, you go to jail, second lie, we cut your tongue out, but I have those emotions about liars. And you should too. You like how I brought that around? Thank you, Ken Fisher. Nice. By the way, Ken Fisher just got in trouble on the news. And the companies that give him tons of money, like whatever, charities and whatever, same kind of people that gave money to Madoff, some of them are pulling their funds from him. So what did he get in trouble for? Did he get in trouble because he's a crappy money manager who underperforms the market and lies to people? Nope. Got in trouble for talking about women. That's what really upsets people. Not if you rip me off. You could take from my retirement, but don't say crude things about women behind closed doors. And I don't agree with what he said at all. Don't get me wrong. I'm just on the financial services side watching this guy do horrendous things for decades, while Forbes magazine says he's awesome. And then the world woke up when his true character showed up in another area, saying incredibly crude things about women behind closed doors, and people videotaped him. So I don't know if you've seen that, but you can look up online, and if you're with Fisher, you can run faster than you would have, because you really should run. All right. So there are no fees. You do not have to pay fees, okay? You want to make sure you're asking how much fees you're actually paying. Now, I could teach you how to do this, or do a phone call with you, kind of a three-way phone call to your current, whatever, variable annuity or brokerage firm. Because if you don't ask specific questions, they're just not going to tell you. right? There's also some really cool softwares where we can go out and take a look at the fees. So, what has fees? Fees usually come with stocks, any sort of managed portfolio. Fees are often inside of variable annuities because behind the scenes, surprise, surprise, they put them into stocks. There's probably fees in REITs and different, basically securities. If you're buying securities, there's typically fees. There can be fees inside of some of the products I've talked about. So let's talk about, when should you pay a fee? Are fees worth it? Well, I spend money all the time. I took my son to a pretty famous fast food restaurant earlier today and got a double cheeseburger with bacon and French fries and 4 nuggets or whatever, chicken thingies, and then a drink. And we don't eat that 3 times a day, but it's a nice treat. And I gave him money. You say, well, was it worth it? I think so. I like the price, and my son is alive. I wouldn't feed him that 3 times a day because he might not be alive for long, but he's alive and happy, and we built a memory, right? So yeah, I spend money all the time, and I spend it on things that are worth it. I don't like the price of movies these days, and we've got 6 kids between us, my girlfriend and I, but I still go to movies because I don't like it, but I still think it's worth it. I like the experience. So you can pay a fee. Let me tell you if you'd like this fee arrangement. You show up at my house and give me $1,000. No, I show up at your door every month and say, give me $1,000, and you give me $1,000, like mafia style. It's protection money. It's so I don't kill your joker broker. You got to pay me off or I'm going to kill your joker broker. Whatever. I show up, say, give me $1,000. How do you like that arrangement? Everybody I've asked says, no, I don't like that arrangement. I said, all right, let me change one very small thing. I show up once a month. You give me $1,000. I give you $1,100 or $1,200 or $1,400 or $2,000. Do you feel the same about the appointment now? Like, would you be nervous? Oh my gosh, Charlie sent me. Charlie's coming, right? Would you be nervous or excited if I'm showing up? You'd be excited. Matter of fact, how many times a month, if I made the offer to come every day or just once a month, how many times a month would you want me to come under the new arrangement where you give me $1,000 and I give you $1,400, let's say? Everybody I've asked said every day, multiple times a day if you're willing. Of course. There's nothing wrong with fees. It's what are you getting for the fee? I'm not picking on money managers because they charge a fee, for heaven's sakes. I'm picking on money managers because they charge a fee and give you worse performance than if you bought the alternative to the money manager, which is just index funds, which Warren Buffett says when he dies, his wife should put all the money in index funds. Why didn't he say his wife should go to his best friend, Joe Schmo, who's this money manager who's been able to beat the market for 30 or 40 years? Because it doesn't exist. Can you trust me for a moment? The guy that says don't trust anybody. It's all about the data. Can you trust me until you've done your own research? Or if you're unwilling to do it, can you trust that I have done the research? There aren't money managers beating the market over long time frames, or Warren Buffett would know about it. Of all people on the planet, folks, of all the people in the world, wouldn't Warren Buffett know about the clairvoyant money manager who is worth his fee, and the market, averages, it's all baloney numbers, but say the market averaged 7 over a time frame. The money manager, because he was actively managing it and working it every day and using his skills, not just set it and forget it, but because he was active, he was able to make 8 after his fee. So instead of 7, you got 8, which made his fee worth it. Wouldn't Warren Buffett, of all people, know if that existed somewhere? I pick on you guys because you go to someone in your backyard and I tell you shouldn't stay local. If you go to an advisor in your town, there are people who live in the same town I live in, so you can't like make it a blanket statement. But most people in this country, if they limited themselves to just advisors in their town, are going to severely hinder their growth and retirement plan and their experience in retirement. Just by 10, 20, 30% less income. Because what are the chances the best mind in the country on mortgage planning, estate planning, retirement planning, insurance planning, and tax planning, who carries all the right licenses and has stayed independent no matter how much less money they make, happens to live in your town? Like almost nothing. But if there was one anywhere in the country, don't you think Warren Buffett would know about that? And I'm talking particularly about managing money, not the other skills? Yes, he would. And what does it say in his will to his wife if he dies first? Put the money in index funds. If you're going to be in the market, you can't be just buying the index funds. You're hearing this over and over and over again from me. Now, by the way, all of the tools I recommend, annuities and life insurance, if you buy the best ones, have beaten the index funds over the last 18 years. So I'm not suggesting you take all your money and stick it in index funds. I'm suggesting, again, very, very strongly, that you finally stand up and tell that joker, broker, or money manager to go packing. Or at least let's write the email together that lets them go graciously, but cold turkey, do not call me. You don't need them. They're not worth it. It's the biggest failed experiment in the entire financial services history, and yet almost everybody still has their money there. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. But it's the biggest failed experiment of all time in financial services, and yet people still hire money managers. I would like to help you let your money manager go. Guys, I don't know what the fear is. If you have money in IRAs and things like that, you can transfer it to any credit union or bank. I'll teach you how. And just say, can you guys just put this in a savings account for me with no fees for a while, an IRA savings account? There's not going to be any taxes due. You can transfer your money away from a broker in like 4 to 6 days and be done with them. And there's no risk if you change your mind 2 months later and says, I really miss Joker Broker. I want to go back. You just transfer it back. It takes 4 to 6 days and you're right back. And you go, I'm sorry I left you for 2 months. That was rough, but I'm back. There's nothing to be afraid of. Move the money. Info at L5Wealth.com, info at L5Wealth.com, or talk to the person that shared this podcast with you. Make sure you ask them, do you know Charlie Jewett? Do you have Charlie Jewett's cell phone number? Can you prove it to me? Can you put him on the phone right now so I can ask him, is this person talking to me, a part of your team? Do they know you? Do you trust them? Make them do that. You work with me, or you make the person you're working with prove that they know me and work with me. I'm not being arrogant. Not at all. I don't get paid on half of these people that call. So I have my team that I'm building on purpose, and of course I get paid on them. I'm doing the work. I don't get paid on half the people that call up and say, hey, I've got a client in front of me, or I've got this guy in front of me, says he works with you. Yes, he does work with me. That's somebody that I've vetted, I've talked to. They're very good. Maybe let me review the final plan and we're good to go. So anyway, get in touch. Info at L5Wealth.com. So last thing I'm going to say about fees. Index universal life insurance, or tax-free retirement planning done with life insurance, which is minimum death benefit, maximum funding, is one of the best strategies on the planet. Whenever we talk about tax-free retirement planning or the power of zero with David McKnight, tax-free income, all that's always done inside of life insurance. Life insurance has fees. I believe in fees when they are worth it. Inside of life insurance, when you build it properly, your fees get down to 0.5% to 1.5%. So 0.5% to 1.5%, not even close to the 2 or 3% we see from Jack Bogle or inside of mutual funds where they talk about all the hidden stuff. The total cost of the fees, and I will teach you how to see that before you buy, 0.5% to 1.5%. And what do you get for that? You don't pay any taxes on any of your gains. If you made 9% in the stock market, how much would you have to give to the IRS? Well, it depends on your tax bracket, but I don't know, 2%, 3% of it? You made $9,000, you have to give them $2,000 or $3,000. Who knows? It depends on your tax bracket. If it's on top of a lot of other income, like Social Security and pensions and rents, you got to give them a lot. But you don't get anything for it, besides the roads and the police and the firemen you already have. Inside of life insurance, yes, we pay fees. They are cheaper than taxes when built properly. And what do you get for it? Long-term care coverage, a bunch of money to pay for medical expenses. Your family gets a giant payoff when you pass away, tax-free. You have a crazy high income that you can't get anywhere else due to an arbitrage, and there's no opportunity cost, which I'll do an entire podcast on that soon. But I'm working on a laptop with I didn't plug it in, and it's on battery, and it's telling me it's going to run out, so I have to go. Merry Christmas. You people are the best. Here's my last song. Enjoy this.
We really can't pay.
Baby, the income's gone.
There's really no way.
All of our income's gone.
Those paychecks had been
Sure wish I had a better
so
plan.
very nice.
We can't afford food, so we'll just eat
We'll
ice.
have to live on Social Security.
Man, it's such a pity.
Sell the beds and sleep on the floor.
Wait till you see how I snore.
Now I'm always worried.
How we run out in such a hurry.
Now I have to become a
Get
whore.
dressed, I'll help you find the front door.
Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett.
But Merry Christmas, folks. Eat turkey, not ham.